Thanks be to God for having this beautiful evening with all these great people that are here today. I want to say thank you to Dean Ammons. He's looking very radiant and beautiful as usual. To Ebony, who's one of the outstanding leaders coming up. To all the beautiful ladies that are here at this law school. When I was first here, there were none at all. To the honorees that are here today, I wanted to get a little bit of a rush, so I got here at 7 o'clock, which is normally just like I would get to class, like right on time. You know, usually coming in from Philadelphia, I would rush up the highway either by car or by taking the train and getting off at the station in Wilmington and walking up to the law school, which at that time was on 23rd in Washington in an old church. Or I would have, at that time, because I had nightclubs, I had a chauffeur. He would drive me here at various times when my other partners didn't need him. So, but today, the reason why I was rushed is because I was watching my grandson's basketball game where he scored a quadruple single. 4 points, 3 rebounds, 2 steals, and 1 foul. Okay. And his team won 40-23. In coming to Widener, which was not Widener at that time, it was called the Delaware Law School. I, having graduated from Howard, and before that, West Catholic High School for boys, like Judge Overton, I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. I had just been appointed as a second lieutenant in the Army, and I had to do something because the Vietnam War was going on, and I was one of the people that they really wanted to get in there really, really bad. My friends were generals. I don't know why, but they really had a hankering to get me to be a forward observer, and I was trying my best to get away from that. So I went to, initially, Temple for grad school in public administration. And at that time, there was a gentleman, Dean Singley, Carl Singley, was in charge of the black recruitment at Temple University. So you know he was really, really being crowded on. So when I went to him, he said, "Jimmy, you just have to wait the next year." And the next year was like 73. So I said, no, I have to go to law school now. You know, I got to make a move now because all my friends were going to med school, dent school, and a lot of the guys were over at the University of Penn. At that time, from Howard, we had like, that year we had 17 people at Howard had come to Wharton. So I said, okay, I've got to make a move now. So a lot of my white friends that were involved in politics said that there's a school starting down in Delaware. So I put my application in, and I had taken the LSAT, and at that time, taking the LSAT, you just had a little booklet that you read at night, and you got up the next morning, and you went there and you took the exam. So I took the exam, and I got enough of a grade that the dean, who was at the school, Dean Avens, he had 2 Science of Juris doctorates, one in constitutional law and another in another type of law. But it was kind of like unusual for a person to have 2 Science of Juris doctorate degrees. So he allowed me in the school, and the first day I came to the school, when I came in, everybody was white, and it was just me at that time, so I thought. And he said, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm Jimmy DeLeon." He said, "Oh yeah, I did let you in here." So I said, "Okay." So as a couple of weeks went by, I met another black student, a gentleman from New York named Bob Early, who was a little bit older, I guess at that time. I was in my 20s, he must have been in his 30s. So Bob and I, he had been there the year before, so he was in his 2nd year, and he was in the night school as well. And the year I started was the first year they started the day school, but I was in the night school. So we made a very good friendship. And we worked with all the students because the students built the school. The students used to make book runs. They would go to all the law schools, not the law schools, to the lawyers, to the law firms, and they would get all the books that would go into the library to get prepared so that when the American Bar Association would come down to accredit them, that they would have all the necessary study implements there for the students. But there was a lot of politics involved because they didn't like Dean Avens, and it was just that simple. So as time went on, Dean Avens was removed for another scholarly gentleman named Dean Weeks. Now at that time, coming up to the graduation, the first graduation, Bob said, he had told me, because we had spoke about the need to bring more minorities into the school, but we both made a determination at that time that this was not the right time. Let the school be built up first before we would bring in more minorities. So when Bob graduated, he said, Jimmy, it's up to you. You're going to have to be the person that's there to continue watering the seed. So I said, okay, Bob, good luck to you, and maybe I'll see you somewhere down the road. So Bob graduated, and then the next year, the school had developed itself. And in that class, we had like at least 5 minorities that came that year. And then we would join together, and we planned for the creation of our chapter of BALSA. And at that time, it wasn't known as BLSA, it was BALSA, the Black American Law Students Association. So what we did, there was of course Howard Brown, who was the first minority to run for mayor of Wilmington and was the executive director of the state EEOC program back then. There was a gentleman named Harry King, there was Vivian Crawford, there was Barbara G. and Malaya, and there was a gentleman, Mike. I forget Mike's name. Yep. So, okay. Mike is no longer with us, and which is amazing because he was a guy that was always in such good shape. But we joined together and we decided that we were going to form BALSA. So we went down to a conference that was at the Howard Law School, and not only did we put in the application for BALSA, but we also ran Howard Brown for a delegate to the American Bar Association. And this was really, so I did the politicking. I would go into the back rooms talking to all the law schools, doing all the politicking for Howard. So then when the vote took place as to who was going to get this particular position, and we were in a room, and when the vote went around the room, the first thing I did, I called out, I said, ladies and gentlemen, this is our candidate, Brother Brown. Okay, so Howard came out really, really cool, really, really smooth. The vote went around the room. Howard ended up being the elected delegate from a law school that was only just becoming a member of BALSA, and then he had went on to great heights where he was the first student to be elected as a delegate to the American Bar Association 2 straight years, 2 straight terms. So from that point, we went to Dean Weeks. And our situation was, we said, well, we had to get some more minorities in this school. So we went to him and we said, well, we need at least 5%. Because what we were figuring, if they had 600 students in the school, 5%, 30 minorities. Okay, so that's what we were kind of like shooting at. And the dean, he knew the figures too. So he said, no, you can't have 30. Okay, you can't have 30. Maybe 15. Okay, but it can't be all at once. Okay, so that's the way it was at that particular time. And we do have the original charter, but what happened was Harry King, when we graduated, we didn't have a meeting place on campus. So we used to meet in Harry King's apartment. So Harry King had the charter on his wall. So when Harry graduated and went back to New York, he took the charter with him. You know? So if you get Harry, you'll have the original charter. Okay? So anyway, I have to be judicious up here. So I'm going to basically bring this to an end in this manner. Myself and Eddie Summers, who Eddie is a judge in the Common Pleas Court in Philadelphia. He sits with George. He was my classmate here, as well as Bill Sabivli, who is now with the Bar Association. Is that the new chancellor? Bill? What's Bill's?
I'm not sure. You're talking about John Sam.
No, but there's another one that's coming in right after him.
2 years after.
Yeah.
Next year we follow you.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, he was one of our classmates here as well. Yeah, Fadulo, right. He was one of our classmates. They helped build the school. But I'm pretty sure that Eddie Summers and myself, we were both elected to the bench in 1987. And at that time, I did not know of any other graduates from Widener Law School that were serving as jurists at that time. So if there were, then fine, you know. But as of right now, it probably was that he and I were the first graduates of this school to be elected to the bench, and I've been there now for the last 25 years, and it's all because of Delaware Law School. It's the reason that gave me my start on my legal career. And many people from this school have come through my chambers as interns, and I see the fruits that the beginning of Balsa has bared. The fruit is sweet, the fruit is long-lasting, and the fruit is beautiful. And I thank you for having me here this evening.